Have you ever noticed how a flamingo looks like a square root? Interesting. The square root symbol, that is. Well, speaking of square roots, let's take a look here at subtracting or adding radical expressions. The first one, if you've looked at my other video where I talked about addition, you'll know that the radicands need to be the same, the indices need to be the same, radicands being the what's inside the radical, the indices need to be the same, and any variable contained within also need to be the same. That condition is satisfied in my first method here, 9 times the cubed root of 2y minus 15 times the cubed root of 2y. So again, you're only subtracting the coefficients in front of the radical. Don't subtract from within the radical, okay? So 9 minus 15, that's going to be a negative 6 times the cubed root of 2y. So that one hopefully wasn't too bad. This next one though, a little bit harder. Cubed root of 24 minus 4 times the cubed root of 192 plus the cubed root of 3. So we don't really have like radicands yet. That's going to change. One thing that helps, so we're going to find factors of 24 and 192, break things down and pull out perfect cubes in this case because we got an index of 3. And one thing that helps is I'm going to look at this cubed root of this 3 right here. Notice that 3 is left inside. I bet anything that if I divided 192 by 3, that I would come up with a perfect square over here. Let's see, 192 divided by 3, that's what, 6 goes in there, 18, 12. I probably could use a calculator, but I'm too lazy. But it's 64. All right, so 64 is our guy. And 64 is a perfect cube, which is nice. 24, that's a little easier. That's going to be 3 times 8, and 8's a perfect cube. So, next step, I'll pull out my 8, right? The cubed root of 8 is 2. That leaves me with this 3 inside. And over here I've got 4 times the quantity of the cubed root of 64 is also 4. Leaves me with the cubed root of 3 here. And then this cubed root of 3 just stays there. So the point here is that we can use this cubed root of 3 right here as a guide to see how these other bigger factors are going, or bigger numbers are going to factor out and break down. All right. My next step is going to be multiplying the 4 times 4 here. Everything else I'll just rewrite as is. And by the way, this cubed root of 3, that's like a 1 cubed root of 3, right? So now we'll look at the coefficients. 2 minus 16 plus 1. 2 minus 16 is a negative 14. Plus 1 would be a negative 13, right? So it looks like our answer is going to be a negative 13 times the cubed root of 3. That's it. If you're taking my online class, chances are you're going to see a problem much like this one on the final exam, and that tends to be one most commonly missed problem on the final. So as you do your homework, as you prepare for exams and the final, make sure you understand this process, okay? Because this is a toughie for people on the final exam, at least from my experience.